Hey happy human, my name is Lauren, like Lauren with an R instead of an L in the front, and I help change makers and marketers build their online brand, not get lost in the algorithm, and tie it all back into their business, and we do that through human-centered marketing. If you are interested in growing your business, or if you are a marketer growing in your career and really want to maintain that human connection the whole entire time and be acknowledged as a human being while you're connecting with happy humans, I highly suggest you hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be having ongoing videos discussing everything from the latest algorithm changes all the way to managing your sanity, health, and also your career growth as we go. So let's get started. If you notice, this video is a little bit different. I wanted to have a little bit more of a personal conversation with you guys this round so that you guys can get to know me, because if you've been watching the last few videos, they are really educational, they're really helpful, and they're designed to be resources for you guys, but they're basically mini keynotes, guys. And if you notice that I took a minor break, that is why, because I created a lot of content in a short amount of time. I feel like as I was creating that content, it was really great. It's good resources. I'll link it down below. But I feel like we got to stop meeting purely to just talk about marketing and business, because that feels a little bit transactional and a little bit against the human-centered piece of it. And the whole entire time, I've introduced myself. If you checked out on my website, you can figure out my credibility and all that jazz. However, I don't get to know you, and y'all haven't gotten a chance to know me, so I figured that this would be a really great time for us to do a get to know me video. So I went on Instagram and I posted a story asking for you guys to ask questions away, because there's a lot of you that have met me through my speaking engagements. So let's get started. So allow myself to introduce myself completely and give a quick background of who I am. Obviously, as you heard from the intro, my name is Lauren, like Lauren with an R, and I help change makers within companies and also business owners be able to continuously create impact in their communities without getting lost as they're growing their business, by helping them implement sustainable, human-centered marketing strategies and systems. So that is in a nutshell what I do. And what that means is every single day I get to work with awesome business owners who are building out their marketing teams, and also working with change makers who are building out departments, and they just really want to create a space for their amazing strategic creatives to continue thriving so that they can build a connection. They also want to understand how the algorithm works, not feel like it's just a transactional hustle and grind every day, and they really want to get a chance to know how to do it well, where they don't feel like they have to reset the whole entire thing every single time there's a new algorithm change. I've been here since before Facebook had business pages. Yes, I am a grandma in social media marketing. Yes, and I self-proclaim to be that. A lot of people are like, you're a pioneer in marketing, and I'm like, nah, I'm internally a sassy 80-year-old grandma, so I will gladly take that as I go. But basically, over the last 10 plus years, I've seen social media begin, and then it become a very visual representation of our society, from the way that businesses connect to each other, and that's my sexuality. But I actually see it how we as human beings took the amazing human connections that we build in our community, and we created like a visual box that makes all the memories around it, and it has unintentionally evolved that way. And we are in an era now, 10 years later, where we are being intentional of how we decide to use these tools, both as businesses and also as the individual consumers who work with these businesses. And what I've noticed is that at the end of the day, no matter if you're working for a company, you run a company, or anything in between, you're still a consumer, consuming content, consuming brands, products, services, etc., right? So we like to think separate of church and state, between being consumer and being a brand or a marketer, but really it's the same thing. And it's really nice to see, as brands evolve in this new technological space, that they're actually focusing on great, let's focus back on that human relationship that we're helping. And I've over the years worked with a variety of different brands, from service industry brands to e-commerce brands to different companies that service e-commerce brands, a variety in between, and everything from 1,000 followers all the way up to 500,000 and more. And watching them grow has been very fun, and watching them create communities that reflect on social media the impact that they're creating in the actual community itself that they're a part of. And it's been lots of fun in that journey. Nowadays, what I get to do is I sit as an advisor for most of these companies, like I mentioned before, helping them build out their brands. And I also go and speak at different universities, conferences, talking around human-centered marketing. And if you are interested in exploring more on the basics, like I said earlier in this video, I created a gigantic playlist, not gigantic, but like a series of videos that are bite-sized, easy for you to watch if you want a quick deep dive into how human-centered marketing operates and how you can implement it into your systems every single day. So feel free to check that out. I will link that below. Let's dive in. So first question is, where are you from? So I am a Austinite. I grew up here. I am definitely a unicorn in the space of things. I was born in China, and then I came to the United States when I was about roughly 2 years old. Hence no accent, and definitely an Asian American. I have lived and grown up on and off in different countries and states, and have been lucky to travel around the world, and that has led me to actually learn to speak over 5 languages. So I speak Chinese, Japanese, Korean, French, and English. I am very happily married to my happy bean. His name is Craig. You will probably get an annual photo of him a year, and the reason is because he's a very private person, and the running joke is that I am a social media marketer, now full-on content creator, and he has never posted on Facebook in his Facebook account history forever, or any other social media platform for that record. So we have 2 fur babies. We have Freddie and we have Reggie. Freddie for Frederic. He is Freddie the Friendster. He is my firstborn. He is super adorable. And he will always come and say hi. Human, dog, anything in between, he will come and say hi. And he's the sweetest little bean. And then his brother, Reggie, we call him Reggie, aka Reginald, the rambunctious. Rambunctious Reginald is what we call him. He is unafraid of literally anything. And he is probably more thinking he is a dog than he's a cat on most days. Freddie is 5 and Reggie is 2, and that's all we have. So those are all the basic things. And I had a question on Instagram that was, why is my Instagram handle imperfectly red? So this is interesting because when I originally made the handle and create an Instagram for myself, it wasn't actually to be a brand-centric account that it is today. It was actually a way for me to showcase a photo series that I was creating called the Imperfectly Me Project. And that is basically showcasing people that on the surface, you're like, wow, they must have it all together. They must be perfect. But really, at the end of the day, they're just so perfectly comfortable with being themselves, the good and the bad, that it comes across as being confident. And that's been really cool. And so when I made the handle, obviously Imperfectly Me was taken. And so I chose Imperfectly Ren, because Ren, like Rorin, is at the end. But Ren, R-E-N, also means human in Chinese. So now it's just a reminder of I'm perfectly human. And I do love my Instagram handle. And because a lot of people were like, why don't you just put your name? And I was like, nah, I am totally comfortable with my handle. What would my advice be in getting started in digital marketing or social media? Where do I begin? Y'all, I was not joking when I said I'm a grandma on social media. I've been around since 2010. And so this year of 2022 filming, it's my 12th year in the industry. And I have done everything from sales into events, into running a digital marketing agency, and everything in between. But specifically about a digital marketer. So giving context, the job description for a digital marketer really did not exist at all until like 2015, and didn't metamorphosize to what most people expect of a digital marketer until about 2018, right? So think like literally 5 to 8 years into me actually starting into this industry was there starting to be standard set of how things operated. And by that time, I was already running my own agency. So we were in the forefront of implementing and establishing standards of what good marketing is. We deliberately chose to hire from the ground up from college versus hiring out into in, because at that time there wasn't a exact standard of what marketing was. A lot of it was kind of like take the same thought process of SEO and put it into digital, and we're like, that's not correct. There's SEO, search engine optimization. It is not social at all in any single way. And so a lot of us were like, okay, well, we're going to train from the ground up in the way that we know how it works and why it works so well, no matter how the algorithm changes, which is human-centered connection. No matter how the algorithm changes or whatever new feature pops up, you have to focus back on the human relationship. And if you want, before I go down the rabbit hole about what good marketing is, I'm just gonna refer back to the first intro to human-centered marketing one there. I will link it down below, but that's like what it is. So for the first 2 years, if we're putting ourselves in the perspective of, coming out of college in digital marketing, because I also had this other question of what certification should I get coming out of college? And I was like, I don't care if you have a Google certification or a Facebook ad certification. That is good, but pretty much useless within the first year because so much stuff changes. What I do need you to understand is how brand voice operates in human-centered evolution, and why businesses are popular and why they evolve and why relationships happen, and being naturally creative as a copywriter and tuning into that's what I needed. A lot of times that digital marketer job description falls under content creator now, right? Because there's different digital marketers, right? There's the more analytics ad based ones, there's the creative content designers. There's no really exactly pecking order of which one's more important. They are all valuable in the realm because most marketing departments have full-on teams of at least 3 to do that in general. And I will create a video one day explaining about how to hire your people and all the things. But if you're interested, you can definitely go check out my blogs. I do have a lot of content around how to hire for a good person in general. When I got out of college, I was still waiting for the industry to take social media seriously. The first couple of years was very much a learn and understand in another smaller agency how to think differently and customize for different brands. So that was really cool. And then in 2015, I decided to go and build out my own agency, and with the intention of building an agency. It wasn't the idea of let me go and be a freelancer. There is a whole blooming gig economy of being freelancers, and to each their own on doing that. And there's people that actually want to train people and build agencies. That was the route that I decided to do, and thus C3 Nami was born. And that is honestly a whole other conversation in another video. If you guys are interested in me talking about running a company, running an agency, training and mentoring people, all that jazz, feel free to comment down below and let me know so that I can do that. And if someone comments it, be sure to like their comment so it goes up, so I know that it is a commonly requested video. Thank you so much ahead of time. So that's a little bit about my history. And obviously the industry has completely changed since I started. And what you're seeing now, instead of the lone rogue marketer that does everything, you actually get a team, which is really, really nice. And that usually includes a strategist who's like leading the charge in strategy, content creator, and that's like a videographer background, supported by a graphic designer that's probably also helping the marketing department in general. And then you also have a community engager. So they're the ones engaging on community. They're the ones doing user-generated content. So if you are looking to getting started in digital marketing and social media, I strongly ask yourself, what is your personality like and where you feel like you would thrive and have joy in? Do you love strategy and planning? Do you love content creation ideas? Are you a natural connector? And bear this in mind, while we say there are 3 roles, different companies have different sizes, different needs, agencies have different sizes, different needs. So you may actually have situations where you will start in one role and then move on to another role. If you're in a company that chooses to invest in you, they'll allow you to move and flow around. It's not really a ladder. It's not really a single road path anymore. And that's honestly kind of like the best ways to get started. What made me decide to run my own business? Honestly, I've always wanted to go corporate. So to put in perspective, I came out of the 2008 recession, right? Like I graduated high school in 2010. Yes, I'm officially getting old, guys. It's a thing. But I started out in 2010 in college, very afraid of watching the previous generations of graduates not have a job, move back home with their parents. Like that was like, oh my God, what is life, right? At that point. And I was like, I need to go into corporate, and I was super motivated. Like I was in my career center as a freshman, and my career counselor was like, can you take a break? Can you enjoy being in college? Because you're really not going to get this chance again. And yes, that is very accurate. So, but I always thought I was going to go corporate and move my way up and go international, right? And then I ended up running my own company at 20 years old through Cutco, because I went upwards into the realms of management, ran my own branch. And I went from that whole experience coming back and realizing that I don't know if I want to be in corporate. I love the ability to make massive amounts of change, innovate things. Now, was it a ton of insane amount of stress and risk? Absolutely. If anyone comes to me asking what it'll take to be an entrepreneur, I do not sugarcoat it. I will say it is not for the faint of heart. It is a roller coaster ride, and it is crazy. My first business, I had a road path, right? Because I was running a branch manager. You're running a whole entire company as a 20-year-old, get to start and finish in the summer. Pretty much the insanely amount of low risk of ever running your own company. And it's kind of the best thing to figure out everything not to do. And that was a great journey for me. And then coming back to college after that summer and being going into my career advisor counselor, being so instead of corporate, how's that small business life look like, right? And then I started working in an agency coming out of school. And then again, because it was a smaller agency, I had more ability to create impact and systems and major changes, not only for the clients that I worked with, but also within the agency itself. And it was really awesome. But where I started hitting walls was twofold. So the first fold was it was a traditional marketing agency, and I really wanted to do more digital marketing. And because by the time that I was thinking of running my own marketing, it hit 2015, and that became finally a job description, and it was great. And I really wanted to be at the forefront of that. And the second thing was I realized that I really need to be in control of my life, my time, And what I realized out of all of that is that I'm a natural innovator, meaning I love being able to figure out problems within the industry or any industry, and do really well. Like I was told one time by a leadership coach, he's like, you're a true innovator. Like someone can put you in that company and you will figure out solutions for it, but it will not bring you true joy because it is something that it's owned by someone else. It's a solution that you're providing for someone else, and you really need to do it on your own. So I decided, okay, at that time, I had a side hustle of doing social media consulting because I wasn't doing that in my main job. And then I was like, and then I had 4 people around me at the same time telling me, you really should be a business owner. And I was like, you know what? It's time to take a plunge. And I still get teased to this day. I have friends that met me the first time after my branch within Cutco. And they were like, how was experience? I was like, it was great, wonderful learning, would never do it again. And now I still eat my words because it lit a fire in me to realize that I really did want to be an entrepreneur, and it was something that I do to this day. So long story short, that is what made me decide to run my own business. Following question is, what advice would I be giving to new entrepreneurs? Well, you heard what I said earlier, which is it is not for the faint of heart. It is a gigantic roller coaster ride, but it is completely worth it if you are an innovator. So an innovator by definition is that you see something in an industry that you want to fix, that you want to do, but there's no way that anyone else is doing it. And so you have this innate, insane passion to do it. That's a little bit different than a change maker. A change maker is someone that sees that change is possible, but then recognize that they can make change. Like they have the power to own change. That is a human evolution, is to be a change maker. Now, the difference between an innovator and a change maker is that innovators have this insane drive of always figuring out solutions and fixing it within and doing it themselves. Like they're like, I have to go and be that person to provide the solution and make the change, and only do it through my own company. I can't do it through another company. And whereas like change makers, you can be a change maker and work within another company. So there is that slight differentiation. So once you figure that out, if you notice what I said earlier, it's an innovator who is super excited about creating that change, super passionate, but you have to recognize that passion is like a fuel tank or even an electrical tank. It's a tank, right? So it's not endless in that space. And so you will eventually run out of steam. And it's because we're human. Right? Doesn't mean that you can't refill the tank. It's just about not trying to like go and not giving yourself a chance to actually take a break and recharge in your own way. And everybody has different ways of recharging. My way of recharging is planting a ton of plants and listening to World War II documentaries while I'm doing it. So it's completely up to you. I have some people that I know recharge because they need to be around people because they're super extroverts. So it just really depends. But it's about understanding your body, your mind, your capabilities, your resilience. There's nothing wrong with recharging consistently. It actually lets you live longer for the long term because you're putting less stress on your body. Because just like a car, yeah, you can push it that extra mile in an empty tank, but every time you do that, stresses that engine, and so it actually decreases the longevity of that car. So just really understanding that is huge, so you can avoid burnout. And that applies to like any situation, but it is detrimental when it comes to companies, because a company in the early stages is built around the passion of a business owner. And if it is only built around the passion of the business owner and it's not sustainable on its own, when you take the business owner out of the equation, the entrepreneur out of the equation, that is when that business dies, because it can't survive on its own. As I say this, you might be thinking, but Warren, we have to social and grind. We have to do these things. We have to do the passion. We have to do all these things. And I'm like, yes, our society toots constant, continuous growth. But we really need to look at sustainable growth. And it's not about getting rich quickly, because what's the use of having all the money in the world when you're so exhausted that you can't enjoy it? Just a thought. And this lesson, it's a lot easier said than done. Trust me, I know. I've learned it the very hard way. And when I think back to when I ran my agency to even what I do now, they're amazing memories. And my one single regret is that I pushed myself too hard, that I was burned out a lot. And I didn't get to really fully enjoy that time. So just some things to think. Another thing that I would give advice for new entrepreneurs to think about is that there's no one perfect way to do things. Every industry is different. You are literally an innovator. You're going into the unknown and exploring totally new things. And so what that means is that if you're there to set standards, there aren't really a shortcut to help you figure things out. We have been doing business as a society for thousands of years, and there's like foundational blocks that you could use to help you do better. But there's not like, here's a book of how to be better. Like, it's the same thing of like, here's a book of how to be a better human being. Like, that doesn't exist. Even though there's so many self-help industry books out there, that still doesn't exist, right? There's no perfect answer, but you are naturally an entrepreneur. You're here to do and create this amazing impact. And you started this business or you plan to start a business because you see something into the unknown and you want to fix it. And you want to create an innovative solution for it. And that is awesome. And there's no correct answer. And that is totally okay. And you don't need the perfect answer. You can aim for perfection. You can aim for the best, but understand that failure is part of the game. And sometimes if you just let yourself know to relax and listen, the answer itself will come. And oftentimes it comes not from you. You don't have to be the answer to everything. And it comes from the most unexpected places, and it turns out infinitely amazing better. That's really life. I mean, those sounds like life advice, but honestly, business is like the best experience of personal growth ever. So next question. What is something that you know now that you find hilarious if you talked about it to your past self? This is a pretty interesting question. So if you asked me when I was sitting in college that I would be doing financial budgets, advising at a super high level, implementing all the things, and being completely okay with like talking about numbers all day long, I would look at you like you're crazy. Or doing public speaking for that matter. So because literally when I was in college, I dreaded looking at financials. It made me super nervous. It was just high anxiety of like, oh my God, these thousands of dollars coming in and out, or hundreds of $1,000s. I had a super high anxiety for public speaking. Like, I would speak so fast that my teacher would be like, you're giving me heart palpitations. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Because he was like, you have so much that you want to say in such short time that you want to say it all, but you're literally overwhelming my brain. And nowadays I get the beauty of YouTube where I get to edit all of this content, and hear me rambling on and shut up and stop rambling and move forward. Yeah, I get that option now. So it's a huge thing. It's been wild that in this decade that my biggest weaknesses have now become my biggest strengths. It is a testament to my personal willingness to want to change for the better. So thank you, past me, for allowing me to get to this point. And it is insanely awesome to be here. So, all right, I am down to the last question. What is the last question? The last question is, what is the one advice I would give? It's okay to be human, the good and the bad. Seriously. There's nothing wrong with being human. You know, we may not always have the answers. We may fail. But, you know, it's in those moments when we learn to persevere in peace that the most amazing outcomes happen. I mean, seriously, penicillin, life-saving drug, developed because mold accidentally happened on a petri dish. Right? Like, little things like that. Like, it's in order for things to happen, you have to have a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. That was a quote that a good friend of mine has said, and that has always stuck with me. And it's okay to do that. And you know, in this roller coaster of life, the one thing that is constant is that change is constant. And as human beings, as a society, as a race, the one thing that we can do is that if each and every one of us learned to be more critical thinking and be compassionate and learn to collaborate with each other, our world would be better off in a really cool place. Okay, guys, that was super deep. Thank you so much for sticking around, and my voice feels a little scratchy. I have lots of content to edit now because this is a very long video. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some moments of life's lessons and things to think about. If you have more additional questions, want to have me do more videos like this where we get to chit chat and talk about being a business owner, marketing, leadership, all that jazz above, I highly suggest you hit that like and subscribe button and comment below with your suggestions. I will see you on the comment threads. Have a wonderful day. Bye.